let's be real, many of us are not making the best financial decisions in our early 20s. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Celeste and my channel is all about intentional living and frugal living as a millennial. So if that type of content interests you, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you here. Today's video is all about the 5 money mistakes that I've made that you should avoid in your early 20s. So let's get started. The first money mistake is spending money just because you can. Here's an example. When I used to have days off in the middle of the week at my previous job, there were many days where I didn't have anything planned. It was more or less just a really chill day at home. But me, being the big old spender that I used to be, would find just reasons to spend money, whether that's taking a drive down to Home Goods or Marshalls or Ross and just browsing and then coming out with all this crap that I didn't even need. Or have you ever found yourself just online shopping, online browsing for clothes, makeup, electronics just because you're bored? This is the definition of careless spending that I used to be really great at. I would consider myself an expert in this field. Maybe I wanted to go out to eat with a boyfriend or by myself, grab a little treat, grab a little boba, have a nice lunch, and all of those things are great, but they cost money, and all the money adds up really fast. And that could also come with me being just really young in my 20s and still living at home, so not really having like a structured way that I personally live my life in my own space, such as like meal planning and things like that. Here's an example of my bank statement last year in November, and as you can tell, went out to eat a lot, boba's in here, went to Jack in the Box, some Nordstrom purchases, Shein.com. Ooh, why did I ever buy from there? Yeah, looking at this is a little cringy, but that's how I was living. You can even make it kind of fun and make challenges for yourself and see how long you can go without spending money on unnecessary things, because once you reach the end of the challenge, it can be really eye-opening to compare some of your old lifestyle choices that you were making with money to some of the great choices that you made when you really took a hold of your spending. The second money mistake that I've made is not tracking my spending. This is so important for us to be aware of our spending habits and where exactly our money is going. I remember many times where I would go out and spend a ton of money on maybe drinks or something like that, or have a shopping spree and not want to check my bank account because I already knew that the damage was done, but I just didn't want to face reality and see the numbers right in my face. I think we've all had a moment or two like that where we just wanted to overlook it and pretend that everything's a-okay, when in reality we are opening the door to a ton of unnecessary spending. So if you are not tracking your spending yet, I would suggest you start immediately. There are so many free ways that you can track your spending, whether that's Google spreadsheets or Excel sheets and creating a monthly expense list. You can also implement some budget rules that can also really be helpful. For example, I use the 50-30-20 rule, and I took inspiration from that and kind of customized it to my own needs. But just getting started is the most important part, because then you can be more clear about some of your goals and you can really just look straight out at some of the maybe bad spending habits that you have. I promise you that once you start tracking your spending, it'll be a lot easier to say no to a lot of things that you might have said yes to spending your money on before you even started tracking your spending. The third mistake is not investing in the stock market sooner. From the moment that I could have started investing, I was very ignorant on educating myself about the topic of investing. I didn't even know how to invest in stocks, and I actually just didn't even care to educate myself on different terminology or strategies, vocabulary. I just didn't even care, which is really silly to say out loud. With that being said, my ignorance definitely put me behind on my investing journey. It's not too late. Just start, and of course, do your own research. If you haven't started investing yet, or if you already are, I do have a link in my description box where you can get a free stock through Robinhood if you use my link. And if you use my link, I will also get a free stock with you. No pressure to use it, but it's there if you would like. The fourth money mistake is inconsistent saving. So here's an example. Last year I had a plan of saving $500 every 2 weeks when I got paid. I started off on the right foot, but then I began to dip into my savings, as you can see, transferring $100 back out. And then I said, oh, let me put $5 or $500 back in. And then I dip in again and transfer $1,000 out of my savings account. And then another $2,700 out. You can see I begin to lower my savings transfer to $250 in September. What this tells me is that I was not being strict about my savings goals. I just knew I wanted to transfer X amount every 2 weeks with no real plan in place on what I was going to use that money for. Is this an emergency fund? Is this a plan to put a down payment on a house? Whatever it may be. I just was saving money with no end in mind. And don't get me wrong, saving something other than nothing is always better. However, the reason why I think I went back and forth and really fluctuated and wasn't consistent with the savings account was that I didn't really have a clear end in mind of what this money was going to be put towards. If you aren't already saving some money in a savings account, you should definitely be doing that. But also, if you find yourself like me being inconsistent with it in the past, think about some goals that you might have for that money and what it's going to be used for. And the final money mistake that I've made is college. I began college in 2014 with the intent to get a degree in communicative disorders / speech language pathology. I truly wasn't passionate about this, and I knew that really early on. I was grateful enough to have my parents be able to support me financially with tuition for the 3 years that I attended college. I tried to stick it out for a while, thinking that things would change, and they actually never did. I was just really fearful of having a conversation with my parents, telling them that, hey, I really don't know what I want to do. I'm not passionate about this, and you just wasted your money putting me through college, paying for my tuition. That's a really awkward conversation to have with your parents. The point of this is that by me not being clear about going straight into college, not being in my best interest or my parents' best interest, ended up hurting both of our pockets financially, for them paying for my tuition and then for me having to pay for, transportation and books and materials and such. College isn't for everyone, and that's okay. Fast forward 4 years later to where I am now. I'm in a stable career path and I have a job that I'm thankful for. So, a lot of things can come your way if you're willing to share your passion and be willing to learn. And those are the 5 money mistakes that you should definitely avoid. Leave me a comment and let me know what is one money mistake that you've made, because at the end of the day, we can all learn from each other's mistakes. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up to let me know so that others can see this intentional living content. Please subscribe if you aren't already. I'd love to have you here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.